Okay, here it is, the 2019. Yeah, that's what it is, the 2019 Honda Pilot Elite. Let me walk around it real quick. Um, it's kind of busy here this morning. It's traffic, it's windy, so I'm apologizing in advance for the microphone. One more car. There we go. It's an interesting red color. It looks kind of good in my opinion. Pretty tall. Let's open the trunk here. Obviously power close. The third row is down, so you can see there's a lot of room here. It's pretty wide as well. Just like on the Telluride, I showed you how the packaging in these cars is now even tighter in the back so that you can have the maximum width in here. So when you go to Costco, it's kind of cool. The only downside is somehow those straps ended up on the other side of the thing. There we go. The seats don't. There we go. These straps are the worst design because you can't just use the strap to pull them up because the strap, finally, I don't know. It's a Honda. What do you expect? As you can tell, I'm not very thrilled with this vehicle. I'll just get the bad stuff out of the way first, and then I'll get to the good stuff. There's good stuff, I think. Let's put these up. There's an armrest back here. Nope, that's a third headrest. Okay, close this. And let me show you the biggest problem I have with this car. It's not in the back, although I'm getting in the back. The point I'm going to make here is the biggest problem is the driver's seat. If you look down from the top, notice this bolster is smaller than this bolster. So when you get in the vehicle, this bolster being so small means you can get in or out very easily. But when you're in the vehicle, this pushes you away from the center of the car. Now the point of that is, if there's a side impact, it keeps you from moving over to this side of the car. So if someone hits you from the passenger side, you're going to be protected somewhat. Although this armrest is funky too because it goes inward, so there's really not much space. So let's pull that up for a second. The other thing though is when you're sitting in this position, you're very vulnerable to this side, and it very much feels that way. You feel like your main focus when you're driving is over here rather than over here. So because of this bolster, this vehicle is so undrivable. And I know people who have this car, and I've never really driven it, and I've tried to drive it day in and day out all week, and there's really no point. This car is so forgettable. This car is so, I don't know, I can't explain it. We do have a power shade here for the second sunroof. It doesn't actually open, so it's just a glass roof. And then on the Elite, we have a one screen. Okay, now that's fancy and stuff, but you know, on the Dodge Durango, we have a screen on both sides. And on the Dodge Durango, we can get captain's chairs. We have rear AC controls. We have rear heated seats. We have some luxury features in here. We have the HDMI input for the entertainment system, but there's only one screen. So think about that. There are 5 people back here, and there's one screen, which is okay. And then I'm not even going to show you what it's like to get in or out. Well, maybe I should. We do have a screen too. And there's a gap. There's a gap. Can't really see it from here, but there's even a gap up here. And to me, I mean, it's a Honda, right? But wait till I tell you what the price of this thing is, and you can come to your own judgment on it. What I can tell you is that I am spoiled. I own a Dodge Durango RT, and I drove recently the Kia Telluride, and I do like the Atlas S. And as far as I'm concerned with this Pilot, I'd say the Volkswagen Atlas is the biggest competitor to this, but this Honda Pilot rides better than the Atlas. the S or the SEL, any of the Atlas models, this Pilot rides better. This has a V6, it has all-wheel drive, so it really competes with the SEL, which I really didn't like. Actually, I really hated the Volkswagen Atlas SEL, but I loved the Volkswagen Atlas S because it was so basic and simple and pure. This is not basic, it's not simple, it's not pure. When I get to the driver's seat, I'll show you why. Hopefully it's clear. Yeah, let's go. First of all, it beeps at me all the time. We have seat memory, we have electronic controls for the gas flap and the trunk. We're gonna get in. Okay, so you can tell this car is not for me. This car is definitely for moms, and that's because of this bin here. So there's no real support between you and the passenger except for this armrest, and it digs in. So if you want to put your seatbelt on, you can't. You have to go around, and then you end up lifting the armrest up every single time, and then you have to adjust it. Annoying, really annoying. This is the only car I've ever had to do that on. Secondly, this bin. It's just deep. It's this massive space, and obviously that's for a purse, but I don't have a purse, so it's not for me. And then we have a power outlet in here, USB charging, okay, and there's nothing else in here. It's just an empty space. I don't know, they could have done something with that. Over here we have wireless phone charging, we have heated and vented seats up front, and they retain the memory, so if you get back in, it does it. This doesn't retain the memory. This is the auto off system. And of course, this funky setup here is the transmission control. So you pull back on this to go into reverse, push down for neutral, drive, or sport if you press it a second time. And I know that some cars have the knobs, some cars have the gear lever and the little electronic toggle thing. This is kind of cool, but it takes up a lot of space. And then you have cup holders. These cup holders are insanely large. No matter which coffee size I have, even like a grande from Starbucks, it's still going to slosh around in here. And this is really for the big gulps. So maybe if you're a mom in Indiana, this is good for you. But in Texas, this is crazy. We have our DVD, Blu-ray slot up front for everything in the entertainment system in the back, which is why I started in the rear first. We have our rear lock, rear settings, so you can control everything from here. And then we have what Honda focused on the most in this car is this entertainment system. And there is no like upgraded stereo in this Elite. And I can tell you right now, the sound stage is very separate. So you can definitely hear the right channel versus the left channel. There's no like, what would you say? Holistic sound experience in here. It's just noise. And so when you go through this screen and try and see, okay, it's the first time it's done that to me. You could see how like there's detail here, and it's a pretty good look. It's a Garmin nav system. It's okay, but then you look into like your sound settings, and it's slow. It's just not working. There we go. It's just really annoying, and that glare is really annoying. And you don't really see too many fingerprints, although my hands are always clean, but I can only imagine what that would look like after a week. Let's go here. Oh, so slow. All right, we'll move on from that. In the center, we have this really annoying display, which always tells me maintenance is due soon, and I have to hit enter to get rid of it. This car is a press car, but it has 6,749 miles on it, so it's been used quite a lot. But that's my average fuel economy since I got this vehicle. I've done 133.7 miles. I've averaged 21.4. So it's not entirely, I don't know. It's not as efficient as the Atlas S, which had the 4-cylinder. Keep in mind this is a V6, but look at all the real estate here used for the temperature gauge, which is only really necessary on a hot day. And then we have the fuel gauge, and then they put like a little tiny bar here for the revs, which doesn't really matter because we have an automatic. And I don't even think this has the tow package on it. Then weirdly over here we have buttons, and these are weird buttons. So this is lane keeping, this is parking, but this is anti-collision emergency braking distance. And they're on because you have ACC and LKAS. But then if we hit main here, they go off. So we have two off buttons, which makes no sense. And then the worst part is the radar cruise. You can't set this when you're in stop and go traffic. If you try and set it, it tells you you're not going fast enough. Of course I'm not going fast enough. I'm in stop and go traffic. But I'd like to have radar cruise to do the stop and going for me. But it won't. So what's the point? I don't get it. And I haven't really tested that on too many cars. There, right there, by the way, is the control for the rear. I'll open that up because it's kind of a cloudy day. So there's just a ton of buttons here that make this car look like it's advanced, but I don't feel it. We have all-wheel drive torque, so this can show me like where the power is going, which I guess is okay if you're in the snow. We have phone, navigation, maintenance, and then settings, and then units, show and hide apps, blank. Okay, well that's all right. But yeah, I've had this for a week. They pick it up today. Today's Monday, the 22nd. I have a watch, so I know what day of the week it is now, or at least I know what day of the month it is. What day of the month? What date it is? All I can tell you is this car is for adults, and being an adult sucks because you're buying a car for everybody behind you, and you're doing all the work, and you're paying for it, and there's no enjoyment out of that except for everyone behind you to spend time with them. That's your enjoyment. But you're really sacrificing a lot for yourself to enjoy everybody else's company. So if you're gonna have this, you're really doing it for somebody else. You're not doing it for yourself. And that's okay, but it's not my thing. And Honda knows that. This is not my thing. But I figured I would just tell you right now why it's definitely not my thing. In the glove box is the window sticker. Now, ready? Honda 2019 Pilot Elite. It starts at $48,000. We have no options. $49,000 for this vehicle. Now it has LED headlights and all this other fancy gizmo stuff on it, but so does everybody else. And what I can't understand is, why is this $49,000? This interior is nowhere near what you can get now in the newer vehicles. And this car isn't that old. They came out with this car in what, 2017? This is coated, but that's not. And there's no wood trim. This is black gloss everywhere. And it's not going to look clean when there's dust on everything. But I don't see it. I just don't see the value in here. Now, the only difference is that this rides better than the Atlas. So if you were looking at the Atlas SEL, you'd spend a $2-3 grand less. You'd have a rear entertainment system, a better ride, and you'd be spending $49,000. When if you look at my most recent videos where I drive the Telluride, that had it had many more things in it for $2 grand less than this. And it was a V6 and it was all-wheel drive. So those are your options. I don't think there's much I can say about the Honda Pilot Elite other than I'm not a fan. And this is not for me because I'm not a mom, last time I checked. And I don't have a purse. I don't have kids. I am still an adult, but I'm a man and I do what I want. So this is not my thing. Am I making that clear? I really do appreciate the opportunity to drive this car, but I can't wait to replace it with my next car. What is that going to be? Well, I'll tell you. That was the pause for the dramatic effect. I'll tell you on Instagram. So I have an Instagram account, New Car Spin, and I'll post more of my more recent items, more of my up-to-date current event kind of stuff there. and then you'll know what's going to end up on YouTube anyway. So New Car Spin on Instagram and New Car Spin on YouTube are going to be the latest ways to get an update as to what I'm driving. I have cars booked now through June, so I'm going to be very busy, and I'll have a lot of stuff coming out, and you're gonna like what's going to happen in May. But for right now, this is a car where I consider like myself paying the dues. Sometimes you got to drive vehicles that come your way because of scheduling or everything else that goes on. So I didn't ask for this car. It was just sort of like part of the booking process that they do in the press world. And I gotta say, the ride's good. That's pretty much the only thing I like about it. And I wish they would improve the stereo. I wish it had 2 screens instead of 1. I don't like all the hard plastic, but it's a Honda, and yeah, it's a Honda. So thanks for watching. I hope you get the point of this video. It's not really to trash Honda. If you're a butthurt fanboy, go ahead and leave me a thumbs down. If you understand the whole thing, that there's so much competition out there and this price point is so competitive and Honda's really not cutting it, if you understand that aspect, leave a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I gotta go to work. Bye.